When the Autobots have an emergency, and Prowl is busy, and the Protectobots, and Inferno, and Red Alert, who do they call? Well, they call these guys. Or in this case, it's only 2 out of the 4 members, but it's still the Rescue Patrol. This is the Transformers Siege Wave 2 iteration of the Rescue Patrol, made up of Red Heat and Stakeout. And these 2 little dudes are going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, and me everywhere. And this is a case of a couple of repaints. It's a couple of decent molds. The Big Shot mold is used here as a fire engine. It's alright. And one of the, let's see, race car ones, is that what it is? Race car? Road handler. I think it's road handler's mold is used here for stakeout, but I'm kind of alright with it because the molds make sense to be reused and the colors are still largely accurate. That being said, we may already be experiencing a little bit of mold degradation. I'll explain what I mean when we head over to the table and take a closer look at these guys. And here, of course, we have Stakeout and Red Heat. They are the Rescue Patrol, the Autobot Rescue Patrol. And before we get to that, I just want to do a couple of quick shout outs to Sam Dermody. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. Dermody? If I'm wrong, I apologize, Sam. To Paladin, JN01 Studios. Dude, I hope that you found a way to get the fix on your Siege Optimus that you were looking for. To T'Challa Omaro, David Hill, and Good 7 Bad 13. Guys, what can I say? It's great to have you along for the ride. It's always a joy to talk to you and, you know, hear what you guys think about what I have here. And in this case, it is these little micromasters. Of course, instead of having 4 members, the modern day iterations from the Siege line only have 2. And in this case, we don't even have the leader of this group. We'll talk more about that later on, maybe another time. Of course, before we look at the figures, let's quickly look at the packaging. Not much to look at. It's packaging. We have a fire engine and a police vehicle up there, so it, you know, they're roaring into rescue. Roll to the rescue, you know, what can I say? On the back, we have the product images. It is what it is. And Red Heat, our fire engine, shares tooling with Big Shot. Maybe some parts are the same and reused. I think the arms are reused. I think the lower legs and feet are reused. But there's new thighs. There's a new head sculpt. I think the chest is the same. And instead of having like a cannon piece, as we will see in vehicle mode, this guy actually has a ladder piece. So there are new parts. There is tooling that's shared. Now, you know who really has a lot of new parts? That's right, Stakeout. Now, Stakeout is based on the road handler mold. Exact same, we'll say skeleton. It's the same sort of articulation. It's the same sort of conversion and whatnot. But I believe everything here is newly molded. Now, you've probably noticed in this review, as well as the Laserbeak and Ravage review that I just recently did, that I have not talked about guilty or innocent. I'm not going to in this case because these guys take over the price point of what were Legends class figures. Now we're getting 2 figures, and granted they're smaller, but we're getting 2 figures at that same price point. It did not change, it did not go up, so the guilty or innocent verdicts do not apply to these guys. And the hardest thing to do when dealing with these guys is trying to keep them in focus. I will do the best that I can for you. The paint apps, they're 10. This is very true to the original G1 toy. The articulation is a little bit lackluster. I'm going to give it a 6, but while it's what you would expect, there's a couple of things that are not that great. He's standing up okay here now, but the little heel pieces, these little white pieces back here, they're fairly loose and like to move. A lot of times I find I need to use his ladder to help stabilize them. The arms can go all the way around, and they can go out a little bit. Nothing great. A little bit. That could be better. The head, I don't know if it moves. I think it does, but it's under a canopy, so I'm not trying to move it. Taking these up out of the way and getting the canopy out of the way. The legs go forward, and they can go back. I don't think there's a thigh swivel, but there is a waist, and we do have splits. And while I can do this, and it stays all right, it feels loose. It feels uncomfortably loose. So with the 10 and a 6, I guess the guy's getting an 8. In terms of his conversion, it's not hard. We'll turn the whole kind of ladder piece up, and we straighten out those little white pieces. We fold the legs up just like we did with Big Shot, and we've seen this conversion before. And we put those little pieces in right there. Same thing over here. Don't be surprised if the hip pops off on you. Put those together if you didn't already. Turn the, I guess, ladder around and collapse the arms to the side. And I guess if you're so inclined, you can open the ladder out like that. It's a cool little fire truck mode. It rolls well, you know, I got nothing against it. It didn't do anything to me. I'm going to say it's an 8. It's pretty average. Overall, this guy's about an 8. But that being said, because the hips are loose, and I've heard of hips being even looser than mine, I'm going to kind of do the fair thing and say, by rights, I have to mark it down because I feel like we're experiencing a bit of mold degradation with this guy already. This should be the last use of this mold. I don't think it will be, but it should be because of this looseness issue. I'm going to say overall, this guy's about a 7. And that brings us to Stakeout, and we already have a 7 for Red Heat, so what about Stakeout here? He's a little more stylized when compared to his G1 counterpart. For example, the thighs on this guy are white, they should be blue. The writing on his arms for police is like a white line with black lettering. It should just be white lettering. The light bar on this guy is red and blue. It should just be red and red. But that being said, I kind of like the look of the police car here better than on the original anyway. But for accuracy, like you know, I think that it is the character of Stakeout, but it's not quite right. I'm going to say 7.5 for accuracy. What about his articulation? Well, that is way better than it was with the original. It's one of the better molds, and I'm okay with having it reused this time. We have the arms that can go pretty well out to the side. Yes, there's no elbow, but I can forgive it on something this small. The arms can go all the way around. We don't seem to have a waist on this guy, but the legs go forward and they go back. And we have a nice deep knee, a bit of a swivel at the thigh. Really, I think it's around the ball joint. But it kind of has everything that you would need from this little guy. So I'm going to say that overall, his articulation is a solid 8.5 for what it is. So far the guy's getting an 8. Now what about that conversion? It's pretty super simple here and pretty nice. We just fold up the front of the car. We put the arms in by the side. We tab the feet together. Fold them up at the knee. Mine just came untabbed. And boom, in the end you have a police car. And I just kind of fixed things up here a little bit. And this is our police car. I think this looks way better than the original G1. This just looks cool. It looks like a sports car that is a police vehicle. I dig it. It's a nice smooth transformation on this guy. All the joints feel pretty good on this guy. I'm going to say that his transformation is a solid 9. This guy is a 8.5. I forgot earlier to show the rather nice instructions. I like what they're doing with instructions this time around. I guess I have to show this stupid little combined mode garbage. Don't ever do this. This is the Biner Boost Salvage Blaster. I don't know, it's junk. Basically, you flip up the hood of the car. It has a peg that comes out, and on the like white ladder section, there's a 5mm peg hole. You put the peg of the car hood into the peg hole of the ladder, and you get this. It's not good. It's not good. As a matter of fact, as you can see here, it's not even very strong. And here we have a family photo of all of the Autobot Micromasters so far. The clear winner, I think, is Flack at this point, and the clear loser, now and probably forever, is Swindler. Boy, that's an awful mold. By the way, just out of interest's sake, Minimus Ambus is actually a Micromaster. Sometimes he's a Minicon. Sometimes he's a Cyber Droid, I think it's called. That's the Cybertronians that can't transform yet. But I'm going to say he's a Micromaster because he's pretty much the same size as the current Micromasters. Who knows? Maybe the groundwork for these little guys was being laid all the way back in 2015 with Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. So what about this little set? Well, we have a 7 for Red Heat. We have a 8.5 for Stakeout. And no, I have not yet compared them to their G1 counterparts. We'll do that coming up. And we'll also identify who the leader of this group is when we look at all 4 members. As far as this group goes, if we kind of split the difference, this set is roughly a 7.75. It's an alright set, but nothing to write home about. And here we are once again, and I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, hey, GotBot, you've been looking at like G1 Micromasters a lot lately. Why didn't you compare these guys to the G1 versions? We're gonna, coming up when I look at the G1 set with all 4 members. In terms of the Siege set here, they're all right. Like, if you don't have the G1 figures, hey, these are worth getting. If you have the G1 figures, I don't know if you really need to upgrade to these guys. I don't even know if I would call it an upgrade. They're all right. They're logical mold reuses. I'm glad to add them to my collection. But I can also understand how they're an easy pass. They're very middle of the road. Anyway, let me know what you think of these guys. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Are you sticking with your G1 versions, if you even have them? You know I appreciate you dropping by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. And I'm going to ask you again to please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.